that bombshell, we are going to kick off. Welcome one and all to this week's edition of the Chroma Team Roundtable. We have a fantastic lineup this week with none other than Jedi, Purdue, and Victor. And we have some very good topics, if I do say so myself, this week. Some interesting things happening in the market, some interesting things happening in the macro. So we are going to talk through them. First, I want to talk about Bitcoin, the state of the market. Jedi, I'm going to go to you first. Normally, I'll leave you till kind of when the DeFi stuff comes in, but I'm going to go to you first. What is your opinion on BTC here? Is it tradable? Is it untradable? Is it something that you're looking at? Is it something that you're interested in? Give me your thoughts.
Not interested in. What's interesting is that we didn't actually discuss price predictions last week. I think, got caught with time, and I actually wanted to state that I actually think the bottom will be in the region of around 45 to 52. So I'm not interested at all. I think I've just seen general weakness, just watching guys making calls on potential longs, and I'm just not understanding why they're doing that, because I'm seeing zero strength. I think the trade right now is to short across the board. But yeah, not feeling it for Bitcoin. I think there's a huge kind of like black cloud over crypto at the moment, not just because it's a bear market, but I think the Trump Association is definitely playing its part. I think this World Liberty Fund is a blight that will go down in history as probably the single biggest blight that we've seen in this industry. And yeah, I think it's a question of being patient. And like we've said over the last several weeks, is like pick your spots, be patient, and predominantly looking at shorts. Otherwise, there's no ways I'm buying Bitcoin here. Even if you gave me the money, I would refuse it and say, let's just wait a bit.
So two things on that. I agree with you with those bottom targets. I personally think we even go slightly lower. I've been talking about this 40K level for a while, which is for me confluent with a few different factors, namely the drawdown from all-time high, the trading below the realized price, which is the average buy price for all Bitcoin holders, and also length of bear market. That's something that has been relatively consistent in previous market cycles. We usually get in around 50 weeks. And so far, by any kind of standard metric, we've been in this bear market downtrend, whatever you want to call it, for about 16, 17 weeks. So still a ways to go, in my opinion. I think we will bottom this year, but I think it's going to be later in the year rather than earlier. And I think it's going to be at much lower prices than what we are today. The second thing I want to add is I agree with you on the buying weakness thing. It's something that I've been trying to stress in my channel. I'm far less interested in trying to catch a bottom than I would be, let's say, with longing confirmed strength. I don't mind missing the first 30, 40% of the move as long as I'm catching the meat of the move, as long as I have confirmation. Victor, what are you looking at in the BTC chart? What has your attention? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. Like overall, I'm leaning bearish for multiple reasons. First of all, if we look at the trend, basically since we did the sweep pattern at the value high of the range, we've been trending down, with the exception of 48 hours between midday Thursday and midday Saturday. But then Trump decided to be an idiot again and raised the tariffs after the Supreme Court decided that they are unconstitutional. Is that what I said? So on the open, we dumped again. And here, this was the key level for me. I said that after this dump, this low has to hold. Otherwise, we are going to be getting a bearish week, because we had this H4 fair value gap sitting right above the value area high. So then if price came back inside the value area and didn't reject from the fair value gap and instead reclaimed weekly open, we would have had a great week, right? However, instead, we rejected the fair value gap, we rejected the value area low, and that is a textbook value area breakdown. And this is why we made a lower low, and then another lower low, and then another lower low. And yeah, I mean, until we, like you mentioned, until we reclaim a key level and confirm buyer strength, I am still bearish. However, However, the price action from today looks, let's say at the bottom, looks a little bit better than it did a few, like the other bottoms, the other lows that we had. And why? Because we had this low that we put in, and then we SFP it, and then we break the H1 structure. So the H1 chart is now actually bullish by this definition. However, overall, I'm still in bearish. So despite the fact that the H1 is looking decent, I'm not looking for any longs. So I'm still cautiously bearish. Also, I think every week I remind you guys of this stat that you mark up the Monday range, and then if we exit the Monday range to the downside, there is like 60% chance that the week ends up being bearish. So by that measure, also I'm bearish. But yeah, we might see like a few hours, maybe a day of bullishness here, and then we reassess.
Thanks, Victor. Purdue, give us the hopium. Give us the bullish hopium we need. What are you looking at? What are your thoughts? You're muted if you're trying to talk.
Yeah, I was trying to talk after I coughed my lungs out again, so I was happy you didn't hear that. So,
Boomer.
but yeah, not super much bullish hopium for me. I'd say there are some altcoins I already discussed this morning as well. Like MORPHO is holding pretty strong. I still like Lit a lot. We're back at range low, and I'm not really keen on being bearish at range low. So every time we tapped into that range low around 1.35, it gave a good reaction. So basically, yeah, everyone knows that we're ranging at the moment. So yeah, I wouldn't become really bearish again at range low here. So for example, we swept the Monday low here, we reclaimed it on Lit, and now it absolutely is sending for now. And same with BTC, for example. I think we tapped perfectly into that 7.5 fib level here, which is a really big fib level, which you usually retrace to after you nuked. So after we nuked here, it usually gives us full root retrace back to the 7.5 fib level, which we held now. So I think as long as we now keep holding that 63k level, you can take a punch back to the point of breakdown here, which is sitting at 67k. But yeah, I'm not anticipating any huge moves today. But there are still some alts you can play for a nice daily rotation. Like Enzo did like a 20% move today after breaking out. Super clean breakout on the higher time frame here, as you can see, and gave a nice 20% push. Yeah, like I said, MORPHO, I'm still very interested. I think MORPHO is the only one out of this list that is a more sustained long-term, mid-term play. All these are just intraday plays. But yeah, if you're locked in, and if you focus a bit, you still find these nice 10-20% moves on a daily. I'm not super locked in for the tracker at the moment because I'm sick as a dog, but I think we can find some really nice rotations if I'm really back on track again.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe let's transition into altcoins a little bit now. Two altcoins that I've been looking at quite closely are MORPHO and PIPPIN. I think MORPHO has just shown quite a lot of resilience in the face of market downside, quite a lot of strength. There was also news, I think, about 10 days ago that the asset manager Apollo, they have something like $900 billion AUM. They are going to buy, they entered into an agreement to buy something like $90 million of MORPHO over the coming years, over the next 4 years or something like that, which, it's not like a huge amount or anything, but I think that's definitely a bullish catalyst and something you can play off instead, especially in these conditions. And then PIPPIN is just criming and scamming all over the chart. I know Jedi's been looking at that one as well. So I'm just curious to know, you mentioned Enzo as well. Are there any other coins that have your attention? Any other coins that you're watching at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, for example, this one, this EUL is a DeFi project sitting at 20 million, and like the backers and what the product shows. I mean, if the market shows its hand, this should at least trade back to 50 million. I mean, a working DeFi project sitting at 20 million in these market conditions, I think that's it's super discounted at the moment. So yeah, you have, if you do some research and the market starts trending again, I'm pretty sure some of these coins will reprice very aggressively. Yeah, I've been really liking this one, so I'm waiting for the breakout and retest here, which we're probably seeing tonight or tomorrow morning, and then I will put it in the tracker. But you definitely have some really nice, and same with Lighter. Lighter is sitting at 200 million market cap at the moment. That, yeah, I don't know. It's not gonna sit there for long, in my opinion. It has a really good product. Oh, sorry, 350 million market cap. But it at least deserves like 1/10 of the market cap of Hype, which would bring it to like 1 billion market cap. So yeah, I think once the market starts trending for a few days, which we haven't seen because the most sustained moves were only 24 hours or so, I think one of these coins will definitely get some mind share and will grow with price and market cap, of course.
Thank you, Purdue. Jedi, we just mentioned PIPPIN. I know that's been on your watch list. I know there's a few other coins as well that I've seen you post in your channel. Zero is one of them. We all saw what happened to that coin recently. I'm curious to know what alts have your attention at the moment, because it's kind of what we just spoke about there. There are opportunities in this market, even when BTC is not really doing a huge amount. There are opportunities on alts to the upside as well as to the downside. Curious to know what has your attention at the moment. You're muted as well. It's really the boomers on the stream
That's
today.
what you get when you have like a 35 plus panel.
Yeah, exactly.
So my apologies, old age definitely playing a part here. So I think the one token that really is of interest to me at the moment, I'm just gonna just do a 60-minute chart in chat. Sorry, that's the wrong one. My apologies.
MYX.
Yeah. So this is something that I brought up during Purdue's stream, and he was like, "Fuck, dude! Like, it was at $20 a night, sitting at 40 cents. It just seems like it can't go lower." And I'd like to just kind of bring context to the menu here. And you asked me what it is that I'm looking at. So what I'm actually looking at is, what are the unlocks on tokens? What was the FTV on launch? And where are we? And where are we actually in the life cycle of this token? And if you look at this token, you'll see that the investors that own 17.5% of the supply actually had a 6-month cliff. And the vesting schedule started unlocking on November 2025, which is obviously very much in line with the way this chart has behaved. It's currently at 95 million, guys. How in God's name is an FTV of 500 mil sitting at a market cap of 95 million? 2 + 2 = 4 here. I don't actually see these investors not selling continuously into the next few weeks. And I am anticipating that this thing is going to go another 90% down the drain. So these are the tokens that I'm now starting to pay attention to. It's something that actually came up on my radar a couple of days ago, and I'm just busy researching, what other tokens actually follow this similar kind of playbook. I'm sure there's probably a dozen, if not 24 of them. I think that's where the opportunity lies for me over the next few weeks, and it's just finding these tokens and going and shorting them and being patient once again. Even if they do like those scam pumps, I'm not going to open massive positions. I'm just going to open a whole lot of them, have very low margin on them, and I'm just going to be patient whilst they all go to zero. That's my strategy.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good one. Quickly, I want to jump in there. Just got breaking news that the White House has released an announcement to say that Sam Bankman-Fried will not be getting a presidential pardon for Trump. So all the ass licking and dick sucking that he's been doing on social media and fucking groveling and petitioning over the last several weeks has all been for naught, which, for anyone who was around kind of last cycle, you will remember the damage that he did to not just to market participants but to the industry as a whole. He was really in many ways the cause of or one of the major catalysts for last year's bear market. In fact, there's an argument to be made that he was actually the reason we got that weird double top formation. But yeah, kind of gratifying to see that he didn't get that pardon. But to your point, Jedi, about those coins, I just posted some stats in the chat about Filecoin, and this is just one example. There are many other coins that went to crazy highs in 2021. Such highs, in fact, to the point where they're actually down like 99, 98% from their 2021 highs. And they're still like 500 million market cap, 600 million market cap. Filecoin is 600 million market cap with a 1.7 billion FDV. Like I can't even comprehend that. It's still so overvalued in theory. It still has so much more downside to go. And it's like minus 99% from the high. So, when people say that altcoins can only go so low before, they must reach an inevitable bottom, think about coins like Filecoin. Think about coins like, what's another good one? Pulse, right? And, we seem to talk about Pulse every couple of weeks, and it's down another 20 or 30%, right? That thing has found no bottom so far. So just bear that in mind when you go, stacking up on alts for the inevitable, and I say inevitable with my tongue firmly in my cheek, the inevitable bounce. Victor, want to go to you now. What altcoins have your attention at the moment? I know you're mostly focused on trading BTC, but is there anything in the market that has caught your eye?
No, I mean only the coins that you mentioned that you are paying attention to, like Enzo, PIPPIN, MORPHO. So nothing, I cannot bring anything new to the table. But I just want to say regarding your previous point about Phil and all these other coins that are dead. I think if you are looking to buy anything or accumulate any altcoins during the bear market, you should not look at any coin that hasn't made a new all-time high this cycle compared to the previous cycle. And there are very many, because I know that we had this discussion about ADA, I think it was during Jonesy's charting mentorship on Sunday. And there are so many coins like ADA, Near, Field, almost all the coins that you can remember from the 2021 cycle, they failed to put in a new all-time high this cycle. So if you are looking to invest in anything, I would not be looking at those coins, because remember that a coin that went down 90% can go down another 90%, not only 10%. So that's the piece of wisdom that I'm gonna give you regarding altcoins this time around.
You're bang on there, and it's exactly what you said in the chat. Just because an altcoin has gone down minus 90% doesn't mean it can't go down another minus 90%. And actually, to speak to another point that myself and yourself were discussing yesterday in the chat, there's a trader that most of us know him. He's an indices trader, Scottish guy. His name escapes me now. He got kind of big on social media a couple of years ago for beefing with ICT, but he posted yesterday, and this is a guy. I actually think he runs his own trading shop. Like he has like traders running a fund with him. They have an office, etc. He posted yesterday that that he had spent like $500,000 DCAing into altcoins over the last couple of years, and that he was down like 50% on that investment. So his 500K was like 250K. And then he finished it by saying, "But I'm comfortable because I know that it's only a 2x to get back to break even." I just thought, what the fuck? How can you say that seriously without I don't know, completely fucking ripping the piss, oh, I just need a 2x to get back to break even. But it's that statistic, it's like when you're down minus 50%, you need a 2x just to get back to break even. When you're down 66%, you need a 3x just to get down to break even, right? And those coins, I'm telling you, there are coins at the moment that are down 90%. And in order for those coins to get back to break even, you need to catch a 10x, right? Or even slightly more. So it's like, don't underestimate how fucking bottomed out these things can go. Just because they look bottomed out doesn't mean they can't go down another minus 90% or more. Want to move on now. Oh, quickly, I do want to talk about Vitalik selling ETH, and I just want to get the panel's opinions on Ethereum. I definitely had far more positive thoughts about Ethereum at the start of the year. I thought that there was a good chance that ETH BTC was going to find a bottom. I thought that there was a good chance that Ethereum would actually be maybe not the trade, but one of the trades of Q1. Now, since then, ETH is like minus 45% or something like that. It looks fucking terrible. ETH BTC continues to look weak, continues to bleed. And Vitalik is selling. He sold like, I don't know, what is it, like $8 million, or was it more? Was it 80 million? I can't remember exactly the headline. Vitalik selling. I'm sure I get it very quickly.
7.4 million.
Yeah, yeah, just under $8 million. Yeah. So I mean, he's selling a lot, which is it's not great for investor confidence. So I'm curious to know, guys, this is an open question. What is your honest opinion on ETH on 24th of February 2026?
I think it's gonna head lower, to be fair. Like, if we expect BTC to go lower, and I think that's the consensus among the panelists this year, I think ETH will go down even more. And again, we go back to the previous discussion of accumulating coins that have made a new all-time high this cycle rather than not. ETH has made a new all-time high by like what, $100. So I'm not even sure if ETH would be the best investment during the bear market for the next cycle. It will be a good investment, that's for sure, because I believe that the bottom for ETH will be around like 1,000 coins, maybe even a little bit lower. And then I will see ETH next cycle going to at least 2K. So I think it will be a good buy eventually, but now it's so weak. And I posted this PO3 in November on X, and people DM'd me with death threats. So I cannot even imagine like what they are feeling right now.
Wow, that thing played out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even expect it to play out so fast. It was more like a rage bait post, but it did play out eventually.
Yeah, I for sure thought. I also thought that something like that was likely, but I thought we would go higher. Sorry, go on, Purdue.
I think around 1,500 is a good buy for Ethereum. Like a little more pain to go. Take out the wick that we created on the 6th of February, and I think from 1,500 it gets really discounted for Ethereum. But yeah, the Ethereum Foundation that keeps on selling is not a really positive sign. They usually always sell the top, and now they have been just relentlessly selling. So they're selling basically every top.
Yeah, I don't think Vitalik is quite the talisman or has quite the aura that he had. Not that he ever had any, but I think that he was. I feel like he was less ridiculed, 2022, 2023. But, it's like we always say, price is the ultimate catalyst, right? When price is up, people really don't care if your founder is weird. They really don't care if your project has holes in it. They really don't care if, you don't have a working product. If price is going up, then everyone thinks you're a fucking genius and everyone thinks your product is great.
Yeah.
Want to move on now. Sorry, yeah, go on, Purdue.
No, I agree. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Want to quickly move on now to AI. So for the next 30 minutes, we're going to discuss a little bit about AI, and then we're going to discuss a little bit about the market. So this might seem like a pretty radical pivot to go straight from talking about crypto to talking about AI, but there is method to the madness here. You will have seen that there's an amount of market disruption being caused by Anthropic and Claude at the moment. We have had Fortune 500 companies are shedding billions of dollars of market cap. We saw IBM post its worst quarterly return in several years. We saw Adobe is down because people are moving away from using their products as part of their workflows. People are no longer using Adobe Photoshop. They're no longer using Adobe editing software because Claude and AI can do that shit all on its own. So we're seeing these huge tech companies having now to go into full scramble mode because they are losing billions and billions of dollars of valuation due to AI disruption. And it's like we often talk about parabolic curves in trading. It very much seems like this thing is a parabolic curve whereby 2-3 years ago we were kind of saying like, oh man, will AI get to the point where it can like do my homework? Will it get to the point where it can like summarize an article for me? And now it's like the questions we're asking are like, will money exist in a few years' time? It's like, will white collar jobs exist in like 2035, right? And this might seem crazy, but these are real questions being asked at the moment by some very smart people. We spoke about the AI is taking over the world view, how consensus it's becoming or whether it's becoming consensus. There was a very interesting article I was reading here by I'll share it in the chat by the Kobeisi letter or whatever it's called. You know, basically saying, you know, what if AI ends the world? Right. Obviously, a bit of a clickbait article, but you know, we're seeing CrowdStrike, Cloudflare, Palo Alto, Zscaler, Infosys, Okita. Huge fucking companies taking massive hits here. So there is an element of disruption here, and I'm curious to get the panelists' take on this. Jed, I know we spoke about just before the discussion started. We spoke about this Citrini article. They released a very interesting article, which is I'll also link it in the chat, about you know, a potential scenario. Let me link it in the chat here. A potential scenario for 2028 where AI kind of gets to the point where it has caused a global financial crisis, a loss of white collar jobs, and some absolutely huge societal disruption. So I'm curious to get your take on that.
So I think, I mean, I think all of these predictions do have a certain degree of truth in them, whether it's the bearish case or whether it's the bullish case. But this isn't the first time we've seen essentially a technological redefining of things. And there's a counter to that report, which I've just linked now. It's also an excellent article, which actually looks at, yes, there is a trade-off between one thing, and it starts, one of the examples that it states is that agents came in for the listings on real estate, right? So real estate agents and people that earn commission on the sale of real estate basically thought, okay, cool, it's a done deal. Agents are going to basically destroy the industry. But what happened is because people were saving so much money on not having to pay agents over a 12-month period, there was like a staggering amount, like $45 billion, which basically went back to homeowners. And those homeowners effectively landed up spending money on their new homes or the existing homes, where they essentially took that money and they spread it into other areas of the economy. So there's a trade-off. And the trade-off doesn't mean that because people are losing their jobs in one direction, that it starts and stops over there. The idea is that there might be contraction in one part of the market, but then there'll be an equal and opposite expansion on the other side of the market. Where that expansion occurs it's obviously not easy to define, but that's where the money gets made. That's where the opportunity comes in for those who are paying attention and for those who are seeking out the ability to make money. Whether you go and use Claude and developers to go and develop something that can replace, or alternatively create a new workflow for that expansion, is obviously up for grabs. So I think this is the way the world works. It doesn't mean because we're seeing the termination of one thing that it's going to land up terminating across the board. I think we are in for exciting times, exciting opportunities. And for someone like myself who is a serial entrepreneur, I think it's going to be fucking awesome, dude. I think we're going to see shit that we haven't seen before. And I think we're going to see opportunities that we haven't seen like ever. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk. I think he's a giant twat. I think he's a liar. But I think the one thing that he does have spot on is that I think he's right. I think robotics and AI are going to land up creating, probably going to be one of the biggest wealth creation events that we've seen probably in the last 200 to 300 years. So read that article that I just linked. It's definitely worthwhile if you are interested in where the opportunities lie.
That's great. Thanks for that, Jedi. Jay, we have on stage. I know, Jay, from speaking to you in DMs, you are heavily involved in this emerging industry. Can you please give us your take? What are your thoughts? You're muted if you're trying to talk or your audio isn't working.
Fucking boomers.
I know, yeah. That's the third time in a row now. I'm going to have to get you all new microphones for Christmas.
No,
okay,
I
he
just
says-
had the
Just
wrong
learn how to
microphone
do
on.
it.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Hello,
There we
hello.
go. Sultry voice.
I had the wrong microphone on. Sorry. But yeah, I'd say the problem with information right now is anything that's related to AI that's older than 2 months is irrelevant. I don't know It's kind of where we are at the moment. Anyone that's played with the latest 3 models of AI, it's Opus 4.6, Sonnet 4.6, and now Gemini 3.1 Pro. Anything behind that is not what exists now. It's basically play toys. I'm building 2 systems for my company that will replace currently 6 digits in like costs. Yeah, I mean, you have Codex 5.2, which is the problem with Codex 5.2. It's very code oriented, but like every single coding thing is going through 5.2 now. So in terms of AI, it's kind of dumb. Anyone that I've spoken to that has enough resources to explore it doesn't live without it now or code without it. It's kind of the point where we've gotten to. I've not touched the line of code for 2 months. I don't intend to touch one. I'm now becoming more of like a planner, kind of orchestrator, where we're building big files on like directing what we want AI to do. The problem is we've reached the point where reasoning has actually becoming, kind of making sense. It's not like you tell it to do something and it does something, and you tell it to do something and it challenges you and itself to finish the goal. And it's become very fucking good at it. It's becoming one, bro. I have to. My job's gone. My job is essentially gone.
Let's talk about disruption. Let's talk about market disruption. Let's maybe even talk about trading disruption. You're saying that you're saying that it's getting to the point where Claude and these various AIs are outcompeting you or doing your job better. So now you're having to adapt. Do you see something like that getting into the realm of trading, discretionary trading? Do you see something like that causing a major global disruption? We're seeing these Fortune 500 companies absolutely hemorrhage value because the people are whether rightly or wrongly, they're seeing the disruption on the horizon. What's your take on that?
Realistically, yes. Just from a bot's standpoint, if you know how to trade, you can now make a bot to trade for you. That wasn't not a possibility before. Like you could try, you could get maybe close. You can do that now. Within, you'll have to pay the price. You'll probably pay like $300, $400, $1,000 in tokens. But the posts on Polar Market, it's like half truths. I believe there are some cases where people really knew how to do it. But I can tell you, I've tried. I'm on the version 10 of my bot, and it has become unprofitable within 24 hours with each time. It had 95% win rate, and then it just died at some point. I'm like, what happened? So yeah, I don't think the 5-minute market. I mean, there will be some cases. It's not about the coding anymore. It's like they make it. I don't even know what they make anymore. Nobody codes. It's like latency. Polymarket also changed their systems because bots caught up, so they changed their systems. A lot of bots lost money overnight. But yeah, that will be an ongoing battle. But I think that kind of twins up with everyone that understands now can create. Like if you have an idea, if you believe you could do a software or you could do a bot with very specific requirements, you can get there now. Like within using Opus for 4.6, especially Gemini 3.1 Pro is very good as well, but the reasoning is not quite there yet. So yeah, it's kind of the status of things is if you had a company that you thought was safe, a guy on the fucking back end in a cave can probably do it in a week now. Like there's a lot of companies in this state right now. Their products took years to build, and now you can get an AI to reverse engineer it and get a workable product within a month. And then you just can't continue feature requesting and bug fixing within another month with zero input, because it's all like feature request comes in, a bot reads it, gives it to another bot, the bot ingests it to somewhere, it orchestrates the thing, and it comes out fixed in the end. I've seen this happen more than once now. So yeah, I think there's a lot of companies that are in danger of overflow of competition, So that will obviously affect markets in a big sense. You're starting to see like everything become more closed source. Google is gonna make people pay to make apps now, like Apple did before, which you are also starting to see a movement against Google and Android arising a bit on the interwebs. That will probably cause a ruckus as well, because as technology grows, we kind of need open source more and more because it will become super powerful. But yeah, there's some crazy shit going on. There's a guy on OpenAI running 500 agents on parallel, checking code. And he's the owner of OpenClaw. He's the creator. He's approving 2,000 PRs a day on average. That's the work of a team of 100 developers, and not a day. It's like weeks.
Sure. So how can someone listening to this conversation today, how can they get started using the tools, the AI tools that you've just mentioned, in order to add some amount of value? Let's use trading as an example, some amount of value to their trading processes. I'm hearing about guys that have AI assistants. I'm hearing about guys that have, AI researchers that scan the market for them. How do you set up something like that?
The easiest way right now is you buy Claude Max. You'll need for sure the like $200 plan. I'd say the 100 minimum, but you'll hit limits within fast. After setups, you can probably grow this back within values, but initial setup takes a while and understanding how this works. But realistically, can I share screen? I can.
Go ahead.
Share screen. No porns on the screen. Are we safe? Oh, that's the big screen. Wait. Smaller screen. Brave. Why you do this? So realistically, easiest right now is going to Claude. It's realistically, it's the best. It's the 4.6 is the best to use for this, and it's the easiest. You'll be paying for the max thingy. I think it's gonna go to mine now, but whatever. It's 180 euros. It's like $230 per month. You will install the CLI, Claude CLI, which looks. This is good for Max. Like this is okay. I'll put this. This is one of the pain points of AI right now, and why people can sell this for $2,000 a pop. This takes 30 minutes to set up if you know what you're doing, maybe less. But yeah, it's the pain point is setup. So you'll have to go through the CLI normally with Claude Code, or you can go inside the Claude website. There's a chat. Can I connect to mine? Allow. Doxed. Do you use AI for your person? I'm personally not trading at the moment. I don't have the brain power. Like I've been trying to make bots. I can show you the results, which probably not very good. No, it's dead. Okay, that too is dead. It's just this last month and a half been crazy. But yeah, if you go to AI, you have a chat here when you get to Claude. My real advice is ask it how to do things. Ask it how to set up. Ask if you're on a Windows, ask it how to work around because you don't have Bash. This chat. You can ask everything here. It's smart enough to understand that you're a beginner and will need help. It's literally, how can I set up OpenClaw, which is the big thing, OpenClaw. You come here, you ask it, it will spit out everything. You can give screenshots, it will search. This is smart enough to guide you, literally hand-holding. And once you get to OpenClaw, you go back to hand-holding again. It hand-holds you all the way. As long as you're on the smartest models, this is achievable. If you go to not as good reasoning models, they won't handhold you as properly. And it becomes very easy to, what we call in the AI world, they hallucinate. They try to give you results that don't really exist. They try to give you answers to fix problems that don't really exist. And that's kind of one of the main focus of AI at the moment, has been kind of reduce hallucinations. Yeah, that's also very good. AI to prompt for another AIs is kind of where we are right now. Like I have a AI planner to make plans to give to my other AI agents. It's kind of where we are now. Yeah. And one of the, I guess I can show this. Fuck, it's on my laptop. I'll share a screenshot. Obsidian.
Don't worry about it too much. We can always loop back on this conversation, or even set up a separate conversation to discuss the nitty gritty of setting up open claw. I was more
honestly, this is it. Is let it handhold you through it. Just let it handhold you through it on this chat.
Yeah, it might be a
that's enough.
conversation for another day. It's definitely an interesting topic, and one that I'd like to explore in more depth when we're not so constrained on time. But maybe that's something we pick up on another conversation, Jay.
But yeah, I think it will be very disruptive. I think the tech world we have today is not the same we will have a year from now, 2 years from now. It will be very, 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 very different.
For sure, and I think the markets are pricing that in. Now, whether or not this is an overreaction is, something that only time will tell. But for now, for sure, we're seeing it in these major stocks crashing across the board. Tech companies are being disrupted. As I said, we have, companies like IBM and Adobe are in scrambling mode. So it's interesting to see whether or not this is just a market overreaction, or whether there is something more substantive behind it, and whether Citrini's prediction comes true. I want to move on to the last topic now, or let's say a couple of topics that are intertwined. We had ZachXBT post about, he said it's the biggest insider trading case he's ever covered. It will be releasing, or details of the case will be releasing on the 26th of February, so less than 48 hours from now. He said that it is a major profitable company in crypto, and of course the joke is that that narrows it down. It automatically removes about 99% of the companies in crypto, because those are unprofitable. But he said it's to do with insider trading, and immediately then the prediction markets started gauging who is it going to be. So we have at the moment the top candidates, and I'm looking at the poly market here, which I will share with you guys. Yeah, so we have Meteora is the top with 32%. MEXC is next, then Pump Fund, then Axiom, then Jupiter, then World Liberty Financial, and we'll talk about those guys in a second as well. Wintermute, Binance, Upbit, Coinbase, Hyperliquid, all there as well. Curious to know the panel's thoughts on this. This is an open topic of conversation. Who do we think the culprits are? Jedi, you're muted again.
It could be me. It could be Meteora. That's what happens when your wife walks in and out your office. You got to mute. It could be Meteora. I mean, I think that's a good call. I mean, those guys were obviously implicated in the Trump Melania liquidity pools and the scammy shit they were pulling. I wouldn't be surprised. Pump Fund as well. I mean, those guys are proper thugs. I hope it's World Liberty Fund, dude. I hope it's them. I hope they get exposed for the cancer that they really are in the space. We kind of like make fun of Pump Fund, and I mean, I'm obviously not a big fan of them, but I think probably, like I said earlier, I think the biggest culprits for things not being great in the space right now are definitely the Trumps. And I'm hoping that this investigation has uncovered that. If it is them, I'm not so sure Zach is going to be very safe. I'd be worried if I was him. I mean, he is doxxed in some circles.
He is, yep.
So, yeah. So, I mean, if he is uncovering them, then I hope he's got the necessary fail-safes in place, because those guys are bad news. I wouldn't feel safe. But yeah, Meteora it's not a bad call. I mean, those guys are super sketch, man. And they've got their finger on probably the biggest and dodgiest casino that we've seen in this industry in the last 10 years. And that's obviously Solana and meme coins.
Well, that's what the market is certainly pricing in at the moment. 32% for Meteora as things stand, with MEXC, Pump Fund, and Axiom in hot pursuit. Purdue, you're about to jump in there?
Yeah, no, I remember that I was talking about Meteora and that I was bullish on it once they launched a few months ago. And then Jedi was the first one. That team is so sketchy, man. and and then I stayed out, and it basically was down only after the launch. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Meteora indeed, because some of these teams are just made out of criminal activities, and they do anything they can to extract money out of the market. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Meteora. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to stay on the World Liberty Finance point for a second. You guys will have seen, we spoke about it in the server yesterday. I think Phobia also posted in his channel about Eric Trump deleting tweets. I think he deleted any tweets that he had made relating to crypto, but it was quite specific. It was tweets that had a cash tag in them. So there were certain tweets where he mentioned Bitcoin, but it didn't have a cash tag, and they're still up, but the ones with cash tags got deleted, including any ones that he made about World Liberty Fly, which is obviously his own token. This all comes, of course, just over a week after the conference, the World Liberty Fly conference in Mar-a-Lago, where you guys will have seen pictures from that. There was CZ was there, Michael Saylor was there. God, who else was there? Sorry?
Ryan Armstrong.
Brian Armstrong was there. Yeah, obviously the Trump brothers were there. It was a real who's who of the crypto market. So yeah, this just absolutely screams scam to me. I'm wondering whether this is not connected to the ZachXBT investigation, although by judging by Polymarket, they're not one of the favorites to be revealed as the culprit. So yeah, Jedi, want to stay on the World Liberty Fi point for a second. How suspicious is this activity from Eric Trump, and how bearish should we be on World Liberty Fi?
Maybe there is a parallel between the cash tags that he deleted, and someone did mention Bonk as being part of the whole thing. So maybe there is a relationship between who's been identified as the insider traders, and there is some kind of association, not direct, but an indirect association, and that's why he's deleted. So yes, I think there is definitely a connection, and I think this whole stew is going to be very tasty once those names come out on the 26th. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, USD1 also depegged. That's right. It was kind of like, and then they blamed the FUD and all sorts of fucking Mickey Mouse bullshit. But I'm telling you, that USD1, it's gonna go tits up. It's not a question of maybe, it's a question of when. I don't know, dude. There's some dodgy stuff going on. CZ, yeah, he still needs to meet his maker in terms of this industry. I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned out, and hopefully this is one of those things. Yeah, it's an absolute cooker.
Yeah, Victor, do you have anything to add on that, or can we move on?
No, not anything specifically. Just that I see Maxi on the list of the Polymarket bet for ZachXBT's post. And I remember there was a time when, if you were a Maxi affiliate, you were able to see everyone's position from the people that were under your link. You were able to see their buying price and everything. I know that was a big scandal. I think even Zach was the one talking about it. So I'm not saying it's I'm saying it's not impossible that they are the culprits in this case. But yeah, it's more likely that it's someone else. And about WLFI, yeah, just scams everywhere. I don't really have another opinion on it.
That's fine. The final topic I want to touch on today, and this is also related to crime season. This was one of the potential culprits for the ZachXBT threat, although it doesn't look like it's going to be the case now. Jane Street are obviously being, let me get the wording for this right. Jane Street are facing allegations of insider trading tied to the 2022 collapse of Terraform Labs. So for those who are unaware, for those of you too green to remember, Luna was one of the major events of last cycle, along with FTX. It was probably the main catalyst behind the 2022 downside, the 2022 bull market, which was, people tend to think that, things at the moment are bad in crypto. That was arguably far worse. It was one of those times where people genuinely thought crypto was going to cease to exist. We had Gary Gensler in the SEC coming after our bags, regulating crypto out of existence. There was Binance FUD on a daily basis. Binance was going under, along with FTX had just gone under. We had, stable coins were depegging. USDT depegged quite substantially at one point by like 15%. Crypto was getting banned in India, China, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So in the midst of all that, Luna, which for those who don't remember, was one of the strongest coins last cycle. It was, I remember the rotation. People were talking about the Sol Luna AVAX rotation. Does anyone remember that? Sol Luna AVAX. Everyone was talking about one coin would pump and then the next coin would pump and then so on and so forth. This was really one of the stronger coins of last cycle. Went from, can't remember exact, when I started trading crypto, it was like sub $5 and eventually went to about 120. Big move. And then, of course, collapsed to zero. Now, the before I get into the Jane Street stuff, I just want to say I posted a I just linked a post from myself here. Yeah, and Do Kwon very famously said, "Steady, deploy more capital, steady lads." So yeah, GCR, for those who don't know, GCR is one of the goated kind of OG traders in the space. He's about 65 years old. He's long retired, but he made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just from trading. Now, whether or not that trading was legit is a question for another day. I know Benny DeBoss from the Chroma community has very strong and very negative opinions on that because he knows for a fact that that the guy, or suspects at least, that the guy had contacts on the inside. But I digress. In any case, GCR made a bet with Do Kwon, a very famous bet, that Luna would be a lower price in a year than it was at the time. I think at the time it was trading at like $110 or something like that. And a few months later was trading at zero. And just as it was kind of at like 0.079 cents or something, GCR publicly posted that he had covered his bet. The entirety of the bet, I think, was a $10 million bet. He had covered it in its entirety for like $79 or something like that, which is just ridiculous. Very, very crazy. But now we're seeing allegations that Jane Street were potentially tied up in insider trading. So I guess I don't really have any questions for the panel other than, do you remember Luna? Where were you for Luna? And did it affect you in any way, positively or negatively?
I traded that thing, but I wasn't in it. I wasn't on Anchor with stable coins. I know a lot of people that were getting that 20%. For those of you who don't know, there was a partnership between Luna and Anchor. It was Anchor, right? They were the stable coin, kind of like they were providing the yields. And I mean, a lot of people really did get destroyed when that thing went under. I mean, Do Kwon, I think, put like $20 billion in to try and get BDC to support that peg. What I was doing now, I was in front of my computer. We were doing content, and yeah, I just watched the whole thing just go down. I was doing the Schadenfreude thing. Fortunately, I wasn't involved. Yeah, it was pretty messy.
Yeah, I'm just looking back over my old Luna posts. Here's one of them. I caught Luna on the bounce. It bounced from 89 cents to $5. I made like a 5x. Yeah, that was back when I was trading like $500 positions though. So I'm pretty sure that 5x was not very much in terms of actual notional amount. But Victor, do you remember that, or are you too young? You were still in diapers back then?
Nah, it was the day that I almost left crypto because I was so fucking stupid. I joined like a few months ago, like the trading space, and I was actually back home at my parents. And when Luna started crashing, so I was driving back home. It's a 2-hour drive to where I live now. And as I was on the road, dark road, no lights left and right, I saw Luna crashing. So my my smart brain decided, nah, it cannot crash like this. Let's long it. And bear in mind, my portfolio back then was $1,000. So while driving on a dark road, I lost half of the portfolio. So it was now
Wow,
$500. So then I get home and I remember that there was a stable coin attached to Luna that was UST. And I see that stable coin had depegged and it was now 60 cents instead of $1. And my stupid brain decided, oh, it has to go back to $1. So let's buy with all my $500 that were left, let's buy UST with all that money because it's surely going to go back to $1. And luckily, I was not able to sleep that night. And at 3 a.m., I closed my position. It went from 60 cents to 95 cents, I believe. So I closed that for a good profit. And then I wake up the next morning and it's 10 cents. If I didn't have insomnia that night and instead I went to sleep, I would have woken up the next morning almost with $0 left in my portfolio and I would have probably left crypto. So I was this close and I made some really stupid mistakes, but that was the moment that I decided that risk management is the most important thing, that I was not allowed to do the same shit ever again. So it was kind of like a turning point for me, but that almost got me liquidated. So yeah, it was a very eventful day that day for me.
Yeah, I think most people who were in the space around that time have a story about Luna. They remember where they were in much the same way that they have a story about FTX. I mean, it's hard to even think about it now, but FTX went from literally, that summer there was ads on American TV. Tom Brady was endorsing it. It had an ad in the Super Bowl. Larry David was endorsing it. It had some of the biggest names in CT trading on it, partnered with it.
Also,
Say again.
Mercedes Formula One was sponsored by FTX.
Yeah.
The Miami
sports
Heat
stadium.
arena in the NBA was named
Yeah.
the FTX arena.
It was huge to go from that to zero in. I mean, it happened once the FUD started, it was over and done in like a week. So, I mean, it's always interesting looking back on these crazy kind of pivotal moments in the industry with the benefit of hindsight. But on that note, boys, it is just coming up to the hour. So we're going to call it there. A big thank you to our handsome, intelligent panel of Chads. We had Jedi, Victor, Jay with the special AI edition, and Purdue, of course. Big thank you to everyone for joining. As always, we very much appreciate you giving us an hour of your time to talk markets and all things market related. Big shout out again to our panelists, and we will see you next week for another Chroma Team Roundtable. Until then, try not to get liquidated, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.